Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, for the Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan, and for the Game Boy Advance as well. So, last time we have basically managed to did done some of these, other bits and bobs here and there, including just able to actually get some more items and stuff, and also we did manage to explore through Death Mountain and stuff like that, which, jeez, is a bit dangerous since the very beginning of that particular Death Mountain, but regardless of everything else though, we also managed to come across into this very strange world that we somehow managed to run into, but thanks to the forms of that particular magic mirror, it allows me to return back into the normal Hyrule world. So today, for this video, is the fact that we're going to be taking on the forms of, well, let's just say, the third palace, or should I say, the, well, a tower of any sorts. Because, yes, as you can tell, we're going to be exploring through Tower of Here, or Her, as far as I wasn't able to pronounce that very well, so I do apologize for that. So yeah, I think this place is going to be filled to the brim with a lot of floors to explore, which this means about the fact that there's going to be a lot more emphasis on elevation, so yeah, we were able to try to get used to this though, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, potentially speaking, that we also managed to stumble across, those blue and red crystal ball or crystal orb switch, so just in case if those little things will stick out or in some cases allows you to progress, so in this case though, that'll be the entire ordeal thing to actually just to deal with that particular stuff worth noting for. And I think fundamentally speaking though is the fact that, and also that we're also able to actually receive, or retrieve rather, the Pendant of Wisdom, which, despite the fact that the actual color we're going to be going after for that particular pendant was red, because I was expecting it might actually be power instead of wisdom, but I'm guessing it's like the incorrect color order for the sake of specific things represents, but oh well, no big deal. It's not the end of the world, honestly, so anyway, so throughout the entire portion of this particular tower, and that is the fact that every once in a while that we will come across into those snake-like enemies, as we've technically already saw them, at least in ever since whenever we managed to do a lot of exploration for the sake of the entire Hyrule itself, yeah, not much else has been going on for the sake of this point today, apart from the fact that, today's day is of course the, oh, what day is today? I forgot. Oh yeah, today's day is of course the 7th of February today, in this case in 2022 today. Now originally though, I was expecting to try to mention something more related to Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics so far, but unfortunately though, I'm gonna have to hold it up for until on Friday, because as far as I'm aware, between both today, especially on Wednesday coming up, that there's not much else I can talk about for the sake of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. Well, at least I'll discuss on those and during at some point on this Friday. So because of that though, I promise you guys, I will be able to talk more details about that. So anyways, let's get into the forms of the actual discussions for this point in terms of today's day. Like I said before, today's day is of course the 7th of February today, in this case in 2022. So this means about the fact that until next week, that it will be Valentine's Day until next week. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting, especially noticeable for those of you who cared about the loved ones, and especially noticeable about the fact that, well, just you love any kind of woman in general. Well, I obviously, since I'm still Pac-Man, of course, so as a result, though, yeah, I do miss Pac-Man, but I kinda wish if she will exist as a plush form, but still, it just comes off as like lack of arms or legs, but oh well, no big deal. So anyways, we got the big key, so we need to find a chest, and also until at the very end of that particular tower itself, then, well, I suppose we should probably keep on exploring this place, do we? So yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to describe about this particular tower. It's just the fact that we have to come across into, you know, a lot of elevation rooms and all that stuff though, which is to be expected by this point. So, anyways, let's go ahead and, try to progress for this point right here. So, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning though is the fact that recently, about the fact the matter is though, is that whenever I stumble across the notification, which it did happen about a few days ago, I've stumbled across the fact that we actually stumbled across into, not one, not two, but 3 brand new tours for the Mario Kart Tour events, despite the fact that we still ended up on the forms of in, Wario vs. Waluigi Tour recently, but I'll probably will get into more details about that during on Friday until what the actual final result is, to see whoever becomes the true winner in the forms of that particular tour itself. But I'm still massively gonna get myself screwed over no matter what if I managed to pick the wrong team side or anything else to be more specific, or maybe because I haven't played the game for such a long while. So yeah, but also that another 2 tours is about to be up. Specifically, one is coming up and during on this Wednesday, which appears to be by the forms of Los Angeles Tour, which I think I'll talk more about that until whenever we get into that day. And also, we've stumbled across the Sky Tour, which that will happen until, let's just say, by the very end of this particular coming month, specifically in February. So because of that though, yeah, I'm very curious to see what these other 2 tours are going to be like. But then again, though, I'll talk more about the specific details about the Los Angeles Tour until when it gets to the point until on this Wednesday. So keep that in mind. So, but I digress. And also another thing I would like to discuss upon, and that is the fact that recently, oh god, I almost forgot about these switches. Every time you activate those kinds of switches, as you can see, sometimes though they manage to able to change the actual pit holes into someplace elsewhere. So because of that though, you always have to rely on these things, so just in case you can able to actually just to be safe for the most part, until you're able to actually just to don't fall off at all. So just in case that you won't be able to actually lose your progressioning for the sake of time. So but if you do ended up falling off on one of those holes, then you have to go back to the previous floor. So that might be something worth noting for the sake of just trying to keep an eye on with the, you know what I mean, trying to dodge from a lot of things. So, alright, so we're on the 4th floor already, so I think we're almost nearly at the end, for the sake of the forms of the entire tower itself, which is kind of surprising, because either way though, since we actually did manage to briefly win for this particular few amount of dungeons, or tower in this case, in this particular tower over there, well, usually I'm still usually in the tower though, but I digress. So, and hopefully we'll try to grab as many of those rubies as I could, so even then I will be able to actually reach out to the maximum capacity for the ruby counts and stuff like that. So, of course, we got the compass, so just in case we don't lose our track of ourselves for the sake of which specific items I missed. So, but there's also this very useful Ferry Fountain somewhere, but then again, we'll point it out whenever we're able to get to that section. So, yeah. But, anywho, and another thing I would like to discuss upon, and that is the fact that I'm pretty sure that Sonic has completely forgotten to mention about that, including myself, for the sake of the forms of how the fact that with, in terms of Sonic Colors Ultimate, of course, and especially noticeable with, you know, this game in particular, and Ray the Flying Squirrel has forgotten to mention about this either from the Mario Party 7 Let's Play, that basically though, we actually got ourselves some of these reviews up for the sake of the forms of not only for Pokemon Legends Arceus for the Nintendo Switch, but also the Ice Age Adventures of, or the Adventures of Ice Age with, actually, it's actually specifically the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. And, for what you've looked up on those reviews, back to back, and, let's start with the forms of Pokemon Legends Arceus first. Somehow, they managed to able to got their positive reviews, which is pretty good, even though there's only one massive criticism, I think, for the sake of the entire title itself. Actually, I'll get to more on that in a second though, although before we hit into the boss, we need to find the Ferry Fountain somewhere, which, by the looks of all that stuff though, is the fact that we need to go and also we need to able to obtain the big chest itself. So in this case though, let's go ahead and, deal with it from here, so we can just hit down there. And sure enough, there's the big chest up there, and shoot, I did not mean to do that, so, whoops. So, anyway, for Pokemon Legends Arceus game, it did actually receive some very positive reviews this time around, which, unlike in, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they got like very mixed reception because of the forms of the actual different developer or something like that. But at least even then though, according to Metacritic, that's our overall score so far for the sake of the forms of critic reviews. Basically though, they've got 84% out of 100. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. And as far as fans goes, they've got 7.9 ratings so far. Although before we get into that though, we found the Moon Pearl, which this allows you to able to actually protect a hero from the changes of the actual Golden Land. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So no need to worry about changing the forms of the rabbit all over again. So in this case though, we should be harmless for the sake of the forms of not to get affected by the forms of that keep on changing shapes. So that's super dope and awesome at the same time. So anyways though, so let's go ahead and keep on exploring this place, even though there's also that little crack wall that's over there, which I'm not exactly sure what that contains, but nah, the bomb doesn't seem to able to explode the wall after all, including the actual Pegasus shoes bash, so we'll just have to deal with that anyway. Alright, time for the third boss in the game. Actually, before we get into that though, sorry, I just keep on like backtracking all of a sudden, because now we need to find the Ferry Fountain, which, you know, these holes over there, we need to hit on the ones on the third top section. So because of that, if we hit into that hole over there and get into another hole, which apparently we ended up on a pot, apparently, and because of that, oh god, that is the longest drop. And sure enough, you've found the Ferry Fountain indeed. So we'll grab those just in case to replenish our health. Luckily though, you don't have to able to climb back up again, because thankfully there's actually a teleportating device, so that way you can able to go back up again. So that's super handy and also very useful at the same time. So anyways, now let's get into the actual fight. Here we have the forms of the personally, it's my least favorite boss fight in the game, next to the forms of the next boss fight coming up, which appears to be by the forms of the Maldulum. So, yeah, this particular guy, he's pretty tough, I'm not gonna lie, because obviously every time you get hit by him, he actually starts to push you around. And also, to make matters worse, as you can tell, the arena itself is a lot smaller than you expect, and then if you do manage to able to get bumped into any other angles, like for instance, I'm almost gonna get myself bumps right there, right off to the edge, and that means that you're gonna have to do the entire boss fight all over again, with its health completely restored during time. So yeah, that's the most annoying boss fight in the game, just because of how the fact that, well, not only do you able to get bumps most of the time, but also that you lose your progress until you're able to actually fall off to a pit. And don't go onto that hole on the left there, because you will fall twice the amount of those floors, because obviously there's going to be a ridiculous amount of backtracking here and there. So because of that, I hate this boss so much. Well, there's also a boss I'm not a big fan of either. But then again, we'll point it out whenever we get into it, though. Oh, jeez Louise. That was a close one, especially that I'm almost gonna go and fall off, and then if I somehow do, then I'll be screwed. And damned! Okay. Oh, jeez, that was close. Although, it's bad enough that this guy will make its return in the other Zelda games, like, there was one SSS on Link's Awakening, and even though he managed to bring it back for the sake of A Link Between Worlds, which thankfully, on A Link Between Worlds though, it might be pretty easy, but still, it's just the fact that you have to put up with the forms of obnoxious knockback every time you get, you know, sword swings on him, or to make matters worse, that, you know what I'm saying. Oh god, okay, well that'll do. Thank god! Huh. Thankfully it took me 2 tries, but still, this boss is annoying. Alrighty then, so now we got the next heart container, and of course we got ourselves the third and the final pendant. So in this case we've now got the Pendant of Wisdom. So how's that for that? You won the Pendant of Wisdom. With this you have collected all 3 pendants. Now go now to the Lost Woods to get the Master Sword. Alrighty-o. So now we're done with that, and now we need to exit out the Death Mountain itself, so, but before we get into that, though, let's double check on that particular bridge over there. Although, that's, as far as we already know, that we actually stumbled across this thing here. Now, before we, read all that, let's go ahead and bring out the Book of, Madora. So in this case, we'll just hit this thing here. Hold up the Master Sword, and you will get the Medal of, Ether. Which, unfortunately though, since we still don't have the Master Sword with us at the moment, but we will do at some point, so unfortunately though, we can't able to actually learn that just yet, until later on, so, but I think that particular, Ether kind of thing right here, that will be the most important, thing in the world, because, well, then again, I will point it out whenever we get into it, so. Alright, so, I believe the exit to, the Death Mountain is actually this way, although that it'll pretty much gonna takes me back to the Kakariko village, so at least we hopefully will find our way to able to actually exit out for this creepy dark cave, but thankfully we did. Yep, there's the exit, so huzzah. Alright, so now we can able to actually just go ahead and approach onto the Lost Woods, so that's, the Lost Woods wasn't all that far, I don't think, so in this case though, we'll just, yo, Pac-Man, a mysterious fog has recently fallen over the forest, so, okay, maybe it's nothing, but this tree feels kind of strange, alright, but, then again, I will point it out whenever we get into it, and I do apologize for my, commentary on certain text boxes here and there can be feels a bit awkward or too late at the same time, so I do apologize for that. There's a piece of heart over there, but we do need to able to actually figure out how to get that, so, but we'll try to figure out at some point. Oh god, that soldier appears out of nowhere. Jeez, thanks for that. So anyway, yeah, that was that, for the sake of the forms of that discussion for Pokemon Legends Arceus reviews out there, and seems it's, you know, positive, which is a good thing, because even then though, I can assure that the fans have been appreciated about the fact with the new direction for the Pokemon games every now and then, which is great. But there's one little downside I was gonna bring things up, that is the fact that the visuals wasn't all that great. I mean, potentially speaking, it is nice, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately though, for I've seen the gameplay footage on the visuals department, it doesn't look nearly as nice as compared to the forms of how it does it on, let's just say, other superior Switch titles like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because of shell-shaded and plus amazing visual effects, and for Super Mario Odyssey for making things the best looking Switch games ever made, so with all that like details and everything with his overalls and stuff like that, which honestly I still appreciate about that, so anyway, and as far as the forms of the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild on Disney+, oh boy, what have they done to that film? Although I'll get to more details about that specific film massive criticism for later, but for now on, we'll just go ahead and explore through Lost Woods quickly, and we've stumbled across that Ruby treasure chest game again, so yeah, still 100 rubies to bet on, so let's see, just a pity Ruby. I just wish if I need to have more rubies, but hopefully we'll get some more and join at some point later down the road. Yeah, there might be some occasional moments that you see those little swords over there that basically though if you think this is real, well, nah, it isn't, because if you pick that up, it basically acts out pretty similar to pots or bushes, so we're gonna need to find the Master Sword while simply able to navigate for this lost maze for that particular fog effects, so, but either way though, I'm pretty sure this is the way. Oh wait a second, we actually stumbled across this mushroom, so smells like sweet, rotten fruit, or the food rather, I have no idea. I do apologize for my commentary, it gets a little bit muffled up at points, so I do apologize for that. So anyway, let's just continue things on here, and I think this is the way to the Master Sword? Yes it is, because we see those tons of critters, and also we've made it to the Master Sword itself, and of course the language is still there, so we'll just... The heroes triumph on Catalisa's eve, wins 3 symbols of the sword, the Master Sword, he will then retrieve, keeping a knight's line true. Again, I do apologize for my text box error, so I do apologize for that. So anyways, with all these 3 pendants combined, then the Master Sword will be released. And there we go, we got the Master Sword itself. Suddenly, Sasurasa contacts your telepathically. Pac-Man, it is extraordinary that you won the Master Sword. That makes evil retreat. With this shining sword, I believe you can deflect the wizard's evil powers. The destiny of this land is in your hands. Please, Pac-Man. And so, since we've now got the Master Swords, this means that our attack power for the actual sword attacks is gonna get a little bit powerful. Pac-Man, help! The soldiers are coming to Sanctuary. Uh-oh, sounds like trouble on that particular sanctuary, so we have to make our way there now. So, anyway, and as you can tell, the fog is no longer there, so this means about the fact that we can able to, well, just get the heck out of here. And also there's another mushroom in there as well, so, yeah, I have no idea why that's there again. So, anyway. So, yeah, about with the forms of, the Ice Age, Adventures of Buck Wild, ugh. Goodness gracious, the reviews is actually a lot worse than the forms of how it does it on, I would classify for saying almost twice as worse as, Ice Age 5 Collusion Course, because at the very least with, the visuals in, the visual department, for the sake of the forms of Ice Age 5 Collusion Course, is one of the greatest looking, films, but despite that, that film is still a bit flopped though, but as far as the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild goes, whoosh, the visuals look absolutely disgusting. And I know for the fact that because I think it was blamed on, everyone is blaming on Disney for able to kill off Blue Sky Studios, because, well, that again though, because of the forms of that stupid things going around the world, but anyway, we'll discuss on that in a moment. But anyways, let's talk to this person. Pac-Man, you are a second too late. I have failed Zelda. The soldiers have abducted her. They have taken her to the castle. You must find her before the wizard works his magic. Please, you are the only true. Ah, he dies. That wizard is gonna pay for that. But anyway, enough about that jibby jabber. Let's go in and save Princess Zelda again. But this time around though, I'm thinking the next destination we're about to be heading to right now is back towards the Hyrule Castle itself as well. So, because since that technically we've already experienced the Hyrule Castle from the beginning of the game, but now we can able to actually explore a lot of it. And as you can see, that since we actually restore our full health, that since we got ourselves the Master Sword, as you can see, much like the forms of Zelda 1, we're able to actually access the Sword Beam, which basically acts out as a projectile that you can able to easily defeat enemies from afar. So I think that was actually a pretty useful technique to have, especially noticeable that if you're having struggling with those tougher enemies, then sure enough you can able to actually just dish out as many of those soldiers as you could like that, or in some other times, boss fights every once in a while, but that won't be for a little while, so yeah, anyway, let's talk about the forms of more discussions about, well, let's just say, the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. Though, like I said before, the reviews on that particular film so far, according to the forms of that specific Rotten Tomatoes website, is actually... Excuse me, I'm sorry about that, folks, because I got something stuck in my throat. So, yeah, that film, though, is flopped, ranging from... Critics did manage to give the film within 23%, and fans-wise, ooh, ouch, 18%. So, as a result, though, they really do miss the charm from the likes of the, well, excuse me, from the likes of the Ice Age trilogy of films, or, the fourth film, or maybe not the fifth one, because the humor is kind of lame. But, I digress. So, I highly guarantee I probably will pass on that film because, well, the reviews seem to think that this film sucks and it completely ruins the imagination what the first Ice Age film's so great. And as far as the actual, well, the film's length goes, I would say this is by far the shortest film in the entire of the Ice Age series or something, although I may be wrong, because obviously I essentially just quit out with all the Ice Age films, which I have no idea why, because I know for the fact that the first film was so great in the first place. So as a result though, that's, well, I think the second film is alright, and the third one is good, but the fourth one is pretty mediocre, and the fifth one is pretty bad. And I will say that for my, for what I've noticed about the fact that with my, if that film ever comes out on Disney Plus in the UK, until on the 25th of March, for the sake of this year, which, oh no, I just realized that particular awful film is about to come out during the exact same day as my most highly anticipated games of all time for 2022, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, until that comes out. Oh jeez, I'm so sorry Kirby, because as far as I'm aware, that you're obviously not going to be joined with the release with that very, very lackluster and awful Ice Age film to date. So as a result though, yeah, if I imagine if I was trying to watch the film, I'll give my exact predictions about my full entire rankings of the Ice Age films throughout the years. I will still say the first film is a classic in my opinion, and the second one is okay, so I think that'll be on the third spot. And then the third film, it was pretty good, for I've seen it anyway, so that'll be on my second favorite. And as far as the fourth one goes, it is pretty mediocre, so that'll be on fourth. And then fifth place goes to the bad film, which is Collusion Course. At least I'll give one credit thing when it comes to the films of Collusion Course, and that is the fact that, like I said, the visuals look really good, and that's saying that much. But oh man, last place, specifically on 6th place, that the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild is definitely going to be in last place, because, oh, good lord. And don't worry, I've seen a trailer countless amount of times, and, ugh, the visuals look gross. But anyway, end of story. Oh, jeez, you have no idea. But anyway, and another thing I want to discuss upon, and that is the fact that recently I've managed to able to download some even more Nintendo eShop stuff, specifically both on the Wii U and the 3DS, because, well, I think it's sad to say about the fact that during at some point in the future, I was a little bit worried about the fact that with the eShop services between the Wii U and the 3DS eventually, that the service will end. So as a result though, that's why I essentially just managed able to get more of those games from not only for the 3DS eShop, but also the Wii U eShop as well. Oh, and by the way, in order to able to actually activate the door, that is important to note that the Master Sword can able to actually deal with that particular random enemy, just block off the doors, which pretty much leads us to the actual, the Hyrule Castle at the very, like, let's just say, what if we do some more elevation floors, so, we can able to expect so. So, anyway, also, that although originally I was expecting to try to get something from the likes of, the Nintendo Switch for the eShop stuff, but I think I'll save that for the later days, because obviously I'm still focusing on more Switch titles coming out for it, especially for, you know, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So, yeah, anyway, for certain games I've got from the likes of the Wii U eShop, first of all, I've actually downloaded Donkey Kong 64 for the N64 Virtual Console re-release of the game, because, well, since that, well, we almost, at the very, I'm pretty sure we're on the halfway point in terms of the rest of the Donkey Kong series of games. Speaking of Donkey Kong, actually, although I'll talk more about that until whenever we get into in a second. So, for what I've played, the Wii U version, Virtual Console re-release of Donkey Kong 64, at least the frame rate is not too bad though, despite the fact that the colors looks a bit washed out. So because of that though, that's my only criticism I have for the sake of certain Wii U games or for certain N64 games running on the Wii U, because as a result though, the colors looks a bit washed out, and also it just feels a little bit too dark for my taste. So, I'm pretty sure we might get used to that, assuming if we're able to do a Let's Play of Donkey Kong 64, well, at least after we finish up with the rest of the entire trilogy of the Donkey Kong Land games first, before we dive right into Donkey Kong 64. So, I'm at least expecting that might actually be what happening and during at some point in next year, if possible, but at least that might be seems the case. But anyway, and speaking of Donkey Kong though, the next Donkey Kong game I actually did manage to download onto the Wii U. That is the forms of Donkey Kong Jungle Climber for the Nintendo DS. Why? Because why not? Because obviously a Donkey Kong fanatic I was, and also on top of all that stuff though, that maybe we can probably do those Let's Plays as well. Well, between the forms of Donkey Kong Jungle Climber, as well as DK King of Swing from the Game Boy Advance emulator, so that way I can do it from there. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we all set in terms of some of these Donkey Kong future Let's Plays for the time. So because of that though, stay tuned for those. And also, I managed able to actually download Metroid Prime Hunters for the Nintendo DS on the Wii U eShop version. Because, well, since we're still a little bit lacking when it comes to able to actually not do any Metroid Let's Plays yet, but hopefully, whenever we're able to get that thing sorted, then obviously I'll be completely ready for the sake of the forms of the rest of the Metroid retrospective of Let's Plays. So, but we don't know exactly for surely which one of those Metroid games I could possibly tackle first. But either way though, we'll I'll find out for myself as soon as I'm able to actually get some things planned. So yeah, that's that. And also, I've managed to download it, both Zelda games on the DS, on the Wii U, such as I've got Zelda Phantom Hourglass, and also The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks for the DS. So, at least I'm pretty much all sorted when it comes to able to try to tackle for the rest of the Zelda games for the future. So, mind you, there are a few exceptions though, like for instance, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes on the 3DS, because well, it might be seems a kind of an awkward setup for that particular Let's Play in mind. So, and also I've managed able to download it Super Mario RPG on the Wii U just because, well, I just feel like it. And also we probably might as well able to do that Let's Play at some point in the future too, but we just do not know when though. But anyway, and also I've managed to download Mario Slam Basketball because, well, I know you guys are probably thinking, where's your Mario Sports Mix Let's Play? Well, I've recently managed able to rewatch that particular playthrough again on my own time, but unfortunately though, I did have some criticism with that particular Let's Play. First of all, the audio is a bit messed up, and second is the fact that the commentary is really way too awkward. And not only that, sometimes in certain parts, specifically in the dodgeball video, that basically one of those audios actually cuts out. So because of that though, we don't usually get to hear that, hey, what's going on ladies and gentlemen, kind of routine. So it just cuts out the audio and you can never actually hear that specific introducing speech from the very get-go, which is kind of sucks honestly. And also, well, despite the quality is a bit average, but aside from that, with the lackluster audio and everything, and as a result, I just feel like trying to do, maybe at some point until next year, once we finished up with the forms of the Mario Party games, maybe we can probably do something a little bit different for Mario, because we haven't exactly done that much Mario sports games every once in a while for Let's Plays department. I know there's technically one that we've already done. Well, actually, kind of thinking about it, we actually done 7 of these things so far, ranging from the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series, and also, Mario Super Sluggers on the Wii. Well, mind you, because of how the fact that we were able to actually desperately want to play that game on the American Wii back in the day, so at least that's something, I suppose. So, yeah, I thought it was worth noting for. So yeah, I finally managed able to actually glad to have Mario Slam Basketball. So anyway, actually before I get into more details about that, oh god, we have ourselves Eric game again. Ha, Pac-Man, I've been waiting for you. Hehehehe. I was hoping I could make Zelda vanish in front of your eyes. Behold, the last moment of Princess Zelda. Oh no, what's he doing? No! Ho ho ho! With this, the seal of the 7 wise men is at last broken. It is now only a matter of time before evil power covers this land. After all, the legendary hero cannot defeat us, the tribe of evil, when we are armed with the power of gold. Ho ho ho! Now I must go. Oh no you don't, because obviously I'll take care of you, but first of all, let me just go ahead and get our ferry out of the bottle, so just in case that will pretty much not gonna restore every single heart. Oh, now we do. Okay, fair enough, but anyways, let's get the bow and arrow out, and once again we'll cut out the curtain, so just in case we're able to get ourselves the entrance to, well, the next boss fight. Oh, so you mean to say you would like to be totally destroyed? Well, I'll make you wish come true. So anyways, here's the forms of the first encounter with the forms of Aquarium. So yeah, basically though is the fact that all you have to do is basically, as soon as you're able to actually start able to do the spell like this, basically reflect that particular projectile right back at him, so that way it deals the amount of damage. And sometimes though in this particular first phase of this fight is a bit tricky at first, mainly because sometimes he loves able to not only spam not only those separated balls, ball energy, but also most of the time though that sometimes it just goes like a completely random attack sometimes. But I'm sure I'll get the gist of it though, assuming if I was trying to able to be like not too careless and stuff like that. Well, most of the time anyway. So anyway, so let's go do it with another hit. Oh, he's almost down. So yeah, for the most part, this boss fight is pretty easy when you get the hang of it though. Oh jeez, yeah, that particular attack right there that he sent out, be sure to able to avoid that, because obviously that you don't accidentally attack it like I just did right there, because that'll just gives you an easy way to get hit by those things. So, and also you have to watch out for that lightning strikes too, so because of that though, yeah, he really just becomes a little bit more of a devastation of that boss. Grr! Well met, like the true hero that you are, but I am not ready to admit defeat yet. I will drop you into the dark world. So in this case, looks like we have ended up in a new world. Pac-Man, it is I, Satsurasia. I am communicating to you across the void through telepathically. The place where you now stand was the Golden Land, but evil power turned it into the dark world. The wizard has broken the wise man's sealed and opened a gate to link the worlds at Hyrule Castle. In order to save this half of the world, the light world, you must win back the golden power. You must also rescue the 7 maidens who Aquarium sent into the dark world as members of the bloodline of the 7 wise men. They have power that will surely help you. The maidens are locked in hidden dungeons full of evil creatures and dangerous traps. The powers of darkness should be your first goal in this world. Pac-Man, I can rely on only you. Please make this old man's wishes come true. I beg you. Yeah, I apologize for that particular text reading error, so I do apologize for that. So yeah, we ended up in the dark world. But then again, I'll talk more about it until the next video. So in this case, join me next time for more of Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. That is the fact that we're about to be able to start to explore this strange new world called the Dark World. And maybe we can probably do the first dungeon there. So I'll see you guys until on Wednesday. Later, fellas.